We bring him in. Rod Black, who, by the way, I have a message to pass along. Blackie, John Shannon said to say what's up. Good. John Shannon said to say what's up. He was with us last hour. You guys go way back or what?
Big boy. Yeah. Hey, big boy. My buddy John Shannon. We go back a long way. John, I don't have to tell you, beyond being a very, very good broadcaster, which he kind of slid into late, after his producing days. I'm sure John said many times, and I love Johnny. I think he's one of the greatest producers I've ever worked with and for. But I think he's also been fired at every network. Not fired, relieved of his duties.
How about that?
Because he's so passionate, and he's so stubborn, and he's such a great guy. But he's got a great mind for television and broadcasting, and he's a great analyst as well. But I got to tell you something. One of the best producers I've ever worked with. Funny guy, good golf guy, big boy. He calls everybody big boy. Hey, big boy.
Yeah, we never called me that, so now I feel kind of left out. But that's cool. Hey, we all go. Hey, you know what? Here's my thing. You have no idea what we're going to talk about. How could you? Because I don't know what we're going to talk about. This just popped into my head. We have a bit of a theme today, Blackie, and it's move on. I'm telling Tua and Brian Flores to move on. I got to think if you've been anywhere around a television set today or open your phone, it's about Tua and Brian Flores, the war of words. Move on. Nobody cares. It's the number one thing in the NFL today, or maybe even this week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Water under that bridge, and the water, it's the river's dried up long ago. Too bad, obviously. We're hearing a lot more of this stuff now where athletes are, can say whatever they want to say about anybody. And I think, quite frankly, once people separate or leave from places, it gives you carte blanche to express your opinion, which Tua did. My thing is, I'm sure you feel the same way, Rod, is that whatever you say about somebody, somewhere down the road, you might work with them again, somewhere, somehow, which could happen. Just move on. I think that's the biggest thing nowadays. We've gone through our last couple of years, and all of our lives have been a little crazy. Just move on and get over it and get over yourselves. By the way, for both of those men, and I think Tua mostly, it's a team game. It's a team game, and we see anybody who tries to do it their own way or follow that path along the lane that they choose, or express some discontent with people. Generally, that's ego-driven. So that's too bad.
Yeah, well said, Rod. You're good, You're good. You just gave counseling for free. I've been paying thousands to get the same advice. But anyways, we all get to the same place. Brother. Yeah. There you go. Now listen. I said to those two, go win a Super Bowl. Whether it's the Vikings or the Dolphins, just go win a Super Bowl and move on, right? Look forward, not back.
How about play against each other? Somewhere? Wouldn't that be something? I don't think.
How about playing against each other in the Super Bowl? That won't happen. But
yeah, you'd have to consult all your betting services. I think the odds. I don't even know. Maybe Clark knows. If you put the odds on the Vikes and the Dolphins being in the Super Bowl against each other, those might be pretty astronomical. You never know, but
yeah. Hey. I'm going to bring our worlds together. The Stanley Cup was at the Brewers game on the last week. Did you see that? Yeah. Bill Zito brought it back. How's your boy? My kid
got a picture with it.
He did. Tell us the story.
Well, yeah, Tyler's up with the Brewers right now, so I don't know. You guys might be able to bring it up. I think it's on one of their Instagrams. You can probably throw it up there. He and I think it's Sal Frelick, the outfielder, ties up with him right now. By the way. So Bill Zito was a clubhouse attendant before he became a general manager for the Brewers way back when. And so he took it all over Milwaukee, which was really cool of him. The players got a kick out of it. Ty and Sal are ex-hockey players, so they really got a kick out of it. I saw the picture there. But here's a fun fact. The Brewers have not lost a game since the Stanley Cup made a visit to their team. They're 6-0 since that time. And they were kind of reeling a little bit, but I think that was the day Ty got called back up, or maybe day after, and he comes in the locker room, and there it was, the Stanley Cup, and it was kind of cool. I think honestly, with all due respect to all of your listeners and viewers and all the great trophies out there, it's the greatest trophy in sport. There's nothing like it, and to look at it, to see it, it makes grown men and women become kids.
I think we all feel that way, and even non-hockey fans think it's the greatest trophy out there. I was just part of a discussion the other night on a podcast in Florida about that, which the only reason I really know about the Cup going there is because I'm writing for the South Florida Tribune now about the Panthers and the Lightning, so I've been following that pretty closely. But with your son, Ty, playing with the Brewers, please tell me you've had some sort of brush with Bob Uecker, the voice of the Brewers. Please tell me you have.
No, because I've only been down there once. It was his first call up, which kind of went a little viral. I think it took me about 5 weeks to get over my hangover from Milwaukee. I love Milwaukee, by the way. Love the city.
Is that right?
I really do love it. Yeah, love the team. And when I was growing up too, I was a big Brewers fan. And then I got into broadcasting. When I first couple of years in broadcasting, the Brewers were so good, Rod. And I loved Robin Yount. Loved Paul Molitor, and then he became a Blue Jay, of course, soon after. They had such a chance. I mean, the Brewers are one of those few teams that have never won a World Series, right? That was their closest dalliance back in '82 when they went to 7 games with the St. Louis Cardinals. And so Robin Yount actually visited, and that I think was cool for Ty this week, too. Robin Yount actually visited, and they had a Robin Yount Day. But it's an amazing stadium. It's a great city. To see Bob Uecker, Bob Uecker is, I would say, out of all the most famous Brewers / Braves, Milwaukee Braves at the time, definitely would be Henry Aaron, I would imagine. Robin Yount's up there. They had a day for Ryan Braun, and I guess it would be like in San Francisco where they had a day for Barry Bonds too, and all is forgiven, and despite the problems that Ryan Braun had, with the Balco scandal and everything else, and they love him. They love their players there. They treat them like royalty there. But Bob Uecker is, I think, the royalty of royalty. Everybody loves Bob Uecker. So I did bump into Bob Uecker way before my kid played with the Brewers, because I used to, I like you, do a lot of speaking things and hosted a lot of events, and I hosted a few with Bob Uecker in his prime when. Right when Major League was out, and it was Harry Doyle, and I'd always introduce him as Harry Doyle. I think we did one in Halifax, Winnipeg, I want to say in Toronto, and they had usually always daises of great athletes. Muhammad Ali could have been there, and Bob Uecker would still have as many pictures and autographs because he was so famous. But I think one of the cool things for my kid is, I think it was last year, was kind of when your first breakthrough as a pro is spring training, and then before you get your first major league hit, you get your first hit as a professional player in spring. And so Tyler got one, and I went back because I thought maybe Ueck was on the call, and sure enough, we sent that to all of our friends, and there was Ueck. There he is, Ty Black with a double. Ty Black. And he was calling him Ty. Wow. I said, Ty, you got to change your name. If Bob Uecker's calling you Ty, change your name to Ty, or shorten your name from Tyler to Ty.
That's what it is now. That's what it is. Yeah,
there's no Rod. You and I have been lucky to be around some legendary figures in broadcasting. I would say probably the most legendary figure in my mind would be Howard Cosell, for sure. And I had a chance to do stuff with him in the past, and got a chance to meet him when I was young. In Canada, we have had, again, the Don Cherries of the world. I would consider Ueck kind of like Cherry times 10, not only in Milwaukee, but around the United States. He's a legend, man. When he walks in, whenever he's on the field, the standing ovation, he gets a bigger standing ovation than the players. And every time, anywhere he goes, I'm sure every time all people say are, just a little outside. I'm sure he hears that all the time. But I can't wait to get back down there. I think we're going to go down, hopefully, in the next little while, and get a chance to reunite. And think about him. He's 90 years old, and he's still doing it, and he's still sharp as a tack. Everybody loves Ueck.
I was going to ask you, the movie came out in about 88. He was old then. That was 40 years ago. So, yeah, an absolute
great movie, too,
icon.
man. Billy
the
Vaughn.
best, man.
Yeah,
really. Willie Mays. Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes and Charlie Sheen was so good in that. It was and
Roger.
Again, at the time they were the Cleveland Indians, which they're the Guardians now. But do you know what to think they went? It's funny how life imitates sports sometimes. We saw it with the Anaheim Ducks, the Mighty Ducks, named after a movie, and eventually won a Stanley Cup after a movie. And the Guardians / Indians at the time hadn't won in a long, long time. And is there any coincidence that shortly thereafter they go on their runs, similar to the Oakland A's going on their runs after Moneyball and all of that? I do find that there are unique parallels sometimes. But my favorite baseball movie, and I put Major League probably 3 or 4, is still Field of Dreams. It still brings a tear to my eye every time, Shoeless Joe looks at his dad and goes,
"Of course,
hey, Dad," or Kevin Costner looks at Shoeless Joe and says, "Hey, Dad, you want to catch?" Or not Shoeless Joe, but the guy who was in the movie, his dad playing in the movie in the field. And there was nothing like Field of Dreams. You want to catch. Every time I see that movie. But there's so many good baseball has the best movies.
Of course, Bull Durham and all. I spent the summer broadcasting baseball in the WCBL. At age 51, I just got into it, and I'm like, where's this been all my life?
Oh,
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I do. I mean, of all the sports that I do, I still like getting in a baseball booth, and there's something about the conversational tone of it. You don't really need a color and a commentator at times. Numbers speak for themselves. And the beauty, I think, of baseball, and I know some people out there listening or watching may say, hey, the game's slow. And it can be slow. But if you understand the pace, and I think you probably, Rod, once you got back in the booth again, you understood the pace of the game is so much different. I do high wire sports like basketball and hockey and football, and they're high wire. And then all of us, football, you do have breaks and there's some strategy to talk. But baseball, one of the beautiful things about the game is that something different happens every single day. Just when you think, I never seen that before. Like, I think it was Altuve. Was it Altuve the other night hit the ball into left field at Minute Maid Park and it's stuck in the wall? I mean, you never seen that before. It's stuck in the wall. Like what? And then there's a rule for everything, and that's you're prepared for a baseball game. You go in, you know all your numbers, you got all your stories, and then it can completely go in a different direction because you could have a no-hitter, you could have a 4-home run game, you could have a perfect game, you could have a brawl, you could have a guy get beamed, you could have an amazing catch, you can have a ball stuck in the wall. There's just more stuff happens in baseball, and it's probably because they play also every single day. Happens in baseball than anywhere else.
Oh, I'm sitting there going, was it Tuesday's game, Wednesday's game, Thursday's game? What game was it that this happened? It's all new to me, and it's good. Lifelong learning. Blackie, we're way out of time. I appreciate you joining us, though, as always. Entertaining as always, my man. Enjoy the rest of summer.
Rod. Always, Rod. Anytime for you. As you can tell, I'm a little bundled up here today. It's supposed to be hot, but I know where you are. It's always hot, so I'm going to come down and visit you soon, brother.
Appreciate you, sir. Thank you. The great, the iconic Rod Black.